What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about things the UK does better than everyone else. Today is the UK's opportunity to just brag. No need to be humble. Today, I want to learn what the UK is the best in the world at. So I thought it'd be fun to take a look at this Reddit discussion where someone asked, what do you give credit to the UK for doing better than most other countries in the world? And I thought it'd be fun to just go through this list and also take a look at some of the comments that people from the UK have said are the best things about the UK. Stuff that the UK does better than everyone else. I'm very, very curious. Starting with universal healthcare. Oh, of course. this this one kind of hits deeply for me as an American in particular, I think, because our healthcare system is so messed up. Yeah, I mean, the UK healthcare system is definitely way, 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 way better than the American healthcare system, the system I know of. Although there's a lot of countries around the world that do healthcare better than us, sadly. I'm laughing through the pain. No, I can't be in pain, or I can't afford that. It's too expensive. But joking aside, the universal healthcare is universal healthcare in the UK like different than universal healthcare systems in other parts of the world and other countries? Like, I don't really understand the details or nuance of the universal healthcare in the UK. I understand it a bit. I know it's a lot better system and paid for using taxes, and you can just go get healthcare and not be sent some kind of bill later for the care and not go bankrupt. So this is definitely better than the United States, no question. Is it better than every other universal healthcare system in the world? Maybe. I don't really understand the differences between the systems, but maybe there's an argument to be made that the UK system is the best in the entire world, actually, which would be pretty amazing. Queuing. This is a funny one to me because nowhere else in the world is known for queuing except the UK. As far as I know, I have seen this one come up quite a few times in other videos that I've done about the queuing in the UK and how seriously it is taken. But it also kind of says something about UK culture, like how the UK is a culture of like respect and like respecting each other and order and peace. Whereas here in America, it's kind of like a culture of chaos at sometimes it seems. So yes, I definitely think if there was an award for queuing, the UK must be the best in the world. This absolutely belongs on this list. Queuing might be the best answer, but I'm curious to see what else we have here. What does the UK do better than everyone else? A good breakfast? UK breakfast. Well, I've heard of the full English breakfast. I mean, what other country has like a breakfast like actually freaking named after it, you know? I mean, England is a part of the UK and it has its own breakfast named after it. Is there like a Scottish breakfast or like a Welsh breakfast? Irish breakfast? I don't know. I've heard of the English breakfast, but I think the UK just has a bunch of good breakfast food. I think that is definitely true. Although I might be biased here, but I think we have a lot of good breakfast food here in the United States. You know, cereal? No. I don't know, pancakes, bacon? It doesn't really get that complicated, though. Nah, the UK definitely is doing better. It's got a lot more options, and it's got like actual, English breakfast, for example, named after breakfast. A good breakfast? Yeah, I could see the UK having like perhaps the best breakfast foods in the world. Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. That's a good one. That's a good one. A proper roast. I'm not sure exactly what this means. A proper roast. What is a roast? Is that like a roast beef? Like roast turkey? What does a roast mean exactly? My American is really showing here. I feel like this phrase, a proper roast, means something very specific in the UK, and I'm not exactly sure. But for that reason, it must be the best because I don't even understand a proper roast. Roast what? What does roast refer to when you say roast? Because a lot of stuff can be roasted, you know. Is that silly of me to not know? Maybe. But I'm gonna choose to believe the UK probably has the best roast. I've heard that word a lot in relationship to the UK. Like I learned about roasted potatoes the other week. Okay, anyway. Graduate education, really? Now this is kind of cool for me cuz some of this stuff is just like yeah, obviously the UK must have some of the best tea, the healthcare's great, the queuing no question. But graduate education now we're getting into a little bit of a debate here cuz I think the United States we're definitely like pretty proud of our education system, not how much it costs. It's kind of embarrassing how much it costs. But anyway, graduate education, like graduate degrees, like master's degrees, PhDs, stuff like that. Is that very, very good in the UK? I have to admit, I don't know anything about that. I think graduate education is good here in the United States, but I can't say if it's better or worse than the UK. I'd like to know more about that. Graduate education. Dark ales and stouts. I don't know much about that either. The UK does have pubs. So that already is like a huge win for the social alcohol culture. The existence of pubs in the UK. Dark ales and stouts. Okay. We're not known for that here in America, that's for sure. Um, wow, some of the best in the world. That's cool. Theater, I have heard. Like, again, I don't know much about theater, but when I think of theater, I do think of like, oh, British theater, playwrights, proper stage acting. Like a lot of famous actors are British and started like in theater, and I just think British when I think theater. That's definitely true. That is a great answer as well. There are a lot of things the UK does better than the rest of us, everyone else in the world. It's pretty cool. Let's keep going here. Sharp cheddar? Sharp cheddar. Is it? I, I'm really racking my brain to because I don't know if I actually like can prove any of these things. I'm kind of just going off whatever the people in this discussion are saying, and I'm gonna assume it's true, or else it wouldn't be here. But sharp cheddar, I've never really heard of. Like, I don't know about UK cheese. We have cheddar here in America. It's not like that special or anything. I want to try some UK sharp cheddar. If that's like some of the best in the world. That's very interesting to me. I like that. Home gardens? Doesn't garden mean something else in the UK? Like we say front yard and backyard, but can't you say garden in the UK to mean your front yard? Or I thought that was a thing. Or is this actually talking about like a garden? Like how us Americans think of a garden. We think of the plants in your front yard and flowers and plants growing in your yard. And I don't know if we're known for gardens or not. Some of us have it. Is the UK known for home gardens? That's another one I've never really heard of before. It could be true. I could just have no idea. I'm learning a lot about the UK today. Like a lot of not just some of the stuff that the UK does very well, but stuff I didn't even know that the UK was proud of, like your gardens at home. That's cool. All right, why not? Satire, yes, yes. Wow, and for that matter, just British comedy, like it has its own category. When you invent your own category of comedy, like British humor, British comedy, which includes like self deprecation, satire, irony, all this stuff. When you invent your own category of comedy, you might just be the best in the world at it. I would definitely agree. Satire, that this specifically is like what? The ability to like look at yourself or make fun of truths going on in the world, like requires a lot of introspection and the ability to kind of laugh at yourself and humanity. And I do like that satire. Not to get too deep there. What else do we have here? Things the UK does better than everyone else. Museums? Really? Camp sitcoms? Trainer shoes? Shoes? This is not stuff I ever really associated with the UK. I have to be honest. Like, I don't think about, like, shoes in the UK. Trainers, that's like what we call tennis shoes. Isn't it just like the big corporations like Nike and Adidas just selling the shoes everywhere in the world? Is there a certain UK brand of trainer shoe I need to know about? I don't know. Maybe. Transit? Yes. The United States is terrible about transit and public transportation. Yes, we're terrible. And I've seen some stuff about London and how there's a lot of transit, trains, buses, but this says inter-country transit. So this is like throughout all of the UK, there's an ability to take trains and buses and go anywhere in the UK, no matter where you are. That's amazing. That's awesome. That is, I mean, it's a little easier in the UK compared to here in the United States because the United States is freaking gigantic. But we should like have trains that can take you, all over the country. At this point, you'd think we would have more of that. So I am jealous about that in the UK. Yeah, I think I've heard this. This is true. Better than anywhere else in the world. You can get around the UK. That's very powerful, very very cool thing, and exactly what you want your country to be like focusing on. Cool public stuff like that. I like that a lot. Government inquiries that go nowhere. I don't know. I don't know if you're better than America at that. Dance, rave music, sauces for meats. Some of these are funny. Embroidered trademark scarves. This is very specific. I'll give you that. When I think of football, I think of like UK, and there must be scarves with embroidery on it. That is a level of detail I have no idea about. Gangster movies, impartial journalism. That's refreshing. Amateur adult I I'll take your word for that. Tea time. Yes, like the most UK thing imaginable. Tea time definitely does better than anywhere else in the world. Yeah, the UK is literally known for tea. Like especially here in America. When we think tea, we think UK. Yeah. There's a couple things that are just literally synonymous with United Kingdom, British culture, and one of those things is tea. So yes, I give you that. Classically trained actors, yes. Curry, I've heard. Retail betting shops, boxers, like fighters, apologizing. Panel talk shows. I didn't even know what that was. I had to like look that up once. What a panel talk show is. Um, Inventing original sports that other countries adapt and dominate. That's very specific as well. What sport did the UK invent that other countries are now like better at? I don't know. Like cricket? I think cricket is bigger in other countries. Was that invented in the UK? I forget. Football, maybe? I don't know. Let's look at some of the comments that people from the UK have left and said are the best things about the UK. Stuff that the UK does the best, according to people from the UK. Plugs. Plugs. Mains voltage. I learned about British plugs. They're very different to plugs here in the United States. They're bigger. I think they're more powerful. So we're saying literally more voltage? Does that mean like the stuff in the UK, the appliances, like run harder, like more intensely? Do you need your toast to be like extra toasted? Is that what it's doing? I don't more intensely cooked? I don't know. The .gov websites are good. That's incredibly random to me. What an interesting thing to be proud of, but I actually get it. Especially now as I'm like getting older and like I go to the US government websites to look at like tax information and I don't know, stuff for like your ID and driver's license. Like our government websites are terrible. They're very old and half of the links feel like they're broken and it's very random where they send you on the website, and this is actually very underrated. Like, the government websites are good in the UK. That's actually really, like, that sounds really, really nice, and that's not really something people talk about enough, I think. The gov.uk websites are a masterpiece in accessibility and user experience. What? Best in class. I wish more websites followed suit. What? This sounds freaking amazing. Oh my, you don't think about government websites often, but when you need to use them, like what a relief that would be to have good government websites because when you're using that kind of stuff, it's usually important. You're doing something pretty important. Wow. That is a really awesome thing to be the best in the world at. Best country in the world. UK for government websites. That is sounds not that important, but it really is. The UK is the best at great actors. True. Like a lot of us Americans don't even know how many actors are actually from the UK because they're putting on an American accent or something. We can't tell who's British and who's not, and a lot of our favorite actors here in America are actually from the UK. I have learned. Very good music, absolutely. Um, as a foreigner, I've traveled a bit in the UK. I would say the average Brit is nice, kind, reasonable. I love the pubs, cozy pubs, great bacon, good sense of humor. Those are all awesome things. Those are such great things to be known as the best place in the world for those. That just leads to like a very happy, fulfilling lifestyle and culture. Yeah, I like that a lot. We don't do too bad at music. No kidding. No kidding. And especially considering, like, here in America, we're pretty stubborn. Like, we like to consume a lot of American stuff. We like to think America is the best at a bunch of things. Uh, but even us Americans, like, have to concede that we love our British music and our British music artists. And the fact that so many British musicians have like become mainstream in America, whereas like that's not easy to do. Americans are not like absorbing other cultures very much. So the fact that British music has just rammed and forced and just on its own merit made its way into American culture with so many British artists, like it just shows how freaking good it is because Americans are not usually willing to always do that in a way, unless it's very good. Same for some British TV shows too. Um, as an American who lived in Kent, I would say beer. Okay, this is like the ales, like the dark beer, which was mentioned before. Cheese again. I didn't know that the UK cheese was so like revered. I did not know that. Bread, pubs, yeah, okay. Chocolate. Oh, I've heard that chocolate is very different in the UK compared to the United States. Apparently, what we're eating tastes like vomit to the rest of the world. That's a disturbing thought. Roundabouts. Yes. Oh man, I'd love if we had more roundabouts. It's like Americans are terrified of roundabouts, but once you learn to use them, they're the best. Footpaths. Yes. I assume other parts of the world have a lot of footpaths. Is the UK the best at footpaths? Taking the piss. Sarcasm. Absolutely. I think that that's a little different than British humor, although that kind of alludes to the British comedy, the sarcasm and wit, but I think British people in general are just very like sarcastic and funny in that way. It's not necessarily just with like British comedies in entertainment. It's also like British UK sense of humor in general, just in the culture. It's very funny and sarcastic, and I think that's a great one as well. I thought this whole thing was great. I think that's a good place to stop. I thought this would be a real fun sort of discussion to take a look at. I had to put on my humble pants because us Americans think sometimes that we just have all the best stuff, but this was just so many great things that the UK has, and that I think basically everything I heard here, I would tend to agree with. I would agree. These are definitely things the UK does better than anywhere else. A really cool selection of stuff that kind of defines UK culture in a way. This was really fun to look at. I gotta say, I enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on things the UK does better than anyone else. That'd be very fun to look at. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and British culture and stuff about the UK that I've never learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.